2023 saw a lot of collections I had done my entire life really start to shrink. But there was also a handful of collections I got to really grow, one of them being my Five Nights at Freddy's collection. Now, we are going to do the top 10 figures that I got from Five Nights at Freddy's in 2023. That's not the top 10 that came out, it is the top 10 that I would have purchased, specifically, right? So, any figures that were older that I just happened to get this year are eligible, but I also have to own them. So if a really cool Five Nights figure came out and I did not buy them, they don't count on the list, I'm afraid. But with all that said, we can actually now get straight into it. At number 10, I really went back and forth on where I should put these guys on the list. I stick by it, the Fight line is my favorite line of Five Nights figures ever made. Only thing is, I don't know really how to rank them, because I don't think they would individually get on the list, except for maybe the Crying Child and the Marionette. But also, I feel like they all deserve a spot, so I have these 5, right? And they are representing the entire first wave. The entire first wave is number 10. I can do that, it's my list. Don't at me. Number 2 had to be the Jumbo Bonnie. I really did like the 2 Jumbo Five Nights figures that came out this year. Bonnie was hands down my favorite between the two. Honestly, it just makes me excited to see if we get Foxy and Chica, because it'd be nice to get the first 4 in this scale. But even if we don't, this Bonnie by itself is pretty spectacular. You can't do a top 10 anything with Five Nights without Foxy showing up somewhere, and for me personally, the best Foxy thing I got this year was this Pirate Foxy. It's the simplest thing in the world, super goofy, but I really, really like it. It helps that technically, if you want a security breach Foxy, this is as close as we get. Like, in the actual Pizzaplex, there are cardboard cutouts of Foxy in this design, so just saying, it's kind of a multi-purpose figure when you think about it. I'll be honest, the holiday figures really surprised me this year. I thought they were all going to feel kind of cheap and cash grabby, but I liked all 4 of them a lot. But the one that really stood out the most had to have been this Snowman Chica. The fact that they changed the joints to be wood and you have this cool, like, stick legs. There's enough to this Chica that's so unique and will never be used again. And, in all honesty, it might be my favorite toy of the, like, at least Game 1 Chica silhouette. It's an incredibly fun figure, an incredibly clever figure, and one that's just kind of a nice change of pace. It's not just some wild random repaint, it's something that was actually sculpted and is different and unique and fun. This guy's at number 6 right now. I guarantee you, had I Sun, this would have been number 1, the duo together. But unfortunately, I never found Sun this year. I only ever found Moon. And Moon is still incredible. One of the most unique figures Funko has ever given us for Five Nights. Captures the game design perfectly. I adore everything about this figure. But it's just missing something without the other half, you know? Moon is my favorite between the two of them, but I would have liked to have Sun here as well. For that reason, I kinda had to dox it a few points, but even still, an incredible figure, one of the best Funko has ever done. I'll be honest, I passed on Jumbo Bonnie a lot, and yet now that I have it, I'm amazed that I did. This figure is so good. Like, I know Grim Bear has always been one of my favorites, but the fact that you have just the waist joint is a big step up, and the overall body looks great. I don't own the Nightmare Bonnie in this scale, but I like this more than I ever would like the Nightmare Bonnie. It just looks a bit better. The only problem with this figure is I would like the Jacko Chica to go with it, but the Jacko Chica is several years old and several $100s, and I'm not doing that. So for the time being, Jacko Bonnie is just going to be by themselves, but it's fun because they look great. Breaking into my personal Mount Rushmore for the year, I have the Lefty figure Funko put out a few years ago. I don't know, I have a soft spot for Lefty. It's really combining 2 of my favorite animatronics, right? It's Freddy and Marionette at the same time, and I really do enjoy this Freddy. This mold is just wonderful. The Rockstar Freddy is great, the glow-in-the-dark Rockstar Freddy is slightly less great, but still pretty good, and this Lefty is one of the standout figures in the collection for me now. I really enjoy it. It's such a unique take on Freddy, and it's nice to kind of technically have a Marionette figure in this scale. I don't know. I might just be bias because of the fact that I like these 2 characters so much. Yeah, number 3 has to be the Mystery Mini Mingle. When you watch my my VR unboxings, the only one I wanted was Mangle, and when I got them, I could not contain my excitement. To this day, I still think this is one of the best figures Funko's ever done. Mangle is such a great design. I hate that we never got them as an action figure. I feel like this is probably as good as we're ever going to get with Mangle, but it's still really well done. I love the sculpting, I love the fact they remember where the eyes are, I like the pose, I like how cutesy it is, I like everything about this Mangle. The only thing keeping it from getting any higher up is, one, it's a blind box, and I don't like the fact that you don't know what you're getting with those, and two, no articulation. You're buying it, and it is a good representation of Mangle, but that's all it can ever be, is a representation of Mangle. So, it's number 3, good number 3, but I do like the things above it just ever so slightly more. And number 2, it had to be something that not only shows up in several of my videos, but has appeared in the very few crossovers I've done this year. It's the Puppet Toy Bonnie. I adore this hand puppet. It is one of my favorite things ever. So much so that I kind of actively debate over how much I want to put it into videos, because there was definitely a point where I was like, I should just have this show up all the time. No, I shouldn't. It's not that kind of channel. But I do really enjoy this Puppet Bonnie. It is my favorite thing Funko put out this year. It's one of my favorite things Funko has ever put out. It's one of the best ideas for the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom and the people who would be buying the merchandise. It's something that has a lot of overlap with their other interests. It is a great little hand puppet that is very cute, and it helps that it's Bonnie. It very, very, very much helps that it's Bonnie. But there is one figure that I couldn't justify putting below this. I want to say this right now. This is my favorite thing of Five Nights ever. This is my favorite piece of merchandise. There's just one thing that I think deserves the number 1 spot more than this guy. Look, the Scrap Baby might just be the best action figure Funko has ever made. The design is wonderful. It's a great capture of the Scrap Baby look from the games. The articulation's solid enough. It's larger than most of the other figures. It is a centerpiece figure in a line that doesn't have many centerpiece figures. I adore this little Scrap Baby. And for that reason, I had to make it my number 1. So there we go, top 10 Five Nights at Freddy's figures for 2023. Gotta say, I really liked all the Five Nights figures I picked up this year. I could have potentially made a top 20, but then I think that would have been pushing it, especially considering the other days are just getting top 10s. One of the more consistent lines I collect, I think, and it helps that, for the most part, they're always just pretty fun designs, so it never feels like I'm getting a clunker, you know? But with all that said, it was a good year of 2023, and we have many, 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 many more lists to go.